What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on Draftkings for Tuesday, February 16th. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comments section who are your favorite options on DK for tonight's slate. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Monty Morris, if he plays, Chris Middleton, Kenrich Williams, Enes Kanter, and Gary Trent on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites, my top 5 plays for today? It is time to find out. All right, first up, coming in number 5, 7K, center only Al Horford, projected for 39, goals 46, optimal lineup 24% of the time. I've explained it a couple times now, but I'm going to go back into it again. Al Horford is essentially the point guard for Oklahoma City, and he's doing literally everything else. So, 29 minutes, a 1.35 fantasy point per minute rate. He's normally a 1.06 guy. I'm projecting him almost 0.3 of a point higher than that because he's just different. We're talking 26% usage or more. I think there's upside there. 17 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Monstrous assist rate as the de facto point guard for the Thunder. It even picks up 2 stocks almost. It's a pace neutral spot against Portland, but it's a great defensive matchup because Portland's defense stinks. I don't mind the price tag. I'm happy to pay it. I've been paying it for the previous $1,000 when he was like 6K. I don't mind it at 7. He does everything for this team. There's not a ton of minutes upside unless this happens to go to overtime or something. But even in regulation, even in 29 minutes, that's enough to make Al Horford look like the 5th best play on the slate. Now, value is a little scarce so far, so we got to talk about number 4, ANFERNEE Simons, point guard, shooting guard eligibility, just 4K, projected for 24, goals 36, optimal lineup 25% of the time. I have him in for 26 minutes. These guys are without CJ McCollum, without Yusuf Nurkic, without Rodney Hood, which I think is a pretty big benefit for ANFERNEE Simons. I have him projected as a 0.92 fantasy point per minute guy. That's a pretty big boost. It's the pace up spot against Oklahoma City. Bad Oklahoma City defense, 21% usage, 13, 3, and 3. It's not a particularly fun line, but we don't have a ton of really good pay down options yet. I assume some news will come out and that could open some people up. But right now, paying 4K for the dual eligibility on Simons, I think works in a matchup against OKC. And I think Simons could be out there on the off chance that this is a blowout in either direction. Next up, number 3, Michael Porter Jr., small forward, power forward eligibility, 5,800, projected for 32.5, and he's in the optimal lineup 28% of the time. I'm giving him 32 minutes. We've got no Paul Millsap. We've got no Will Barton. We've got no Gary Harris. We've got no PJ Dozier. It's insane what's happening in Denver right now. I'm projecting him worse than normal. He's normally a 1.08 guy. I have him at 1 fantasy point per minute flat, 22% usage, 17 points, 7 boards, and then a little bit of everything. It's a pace down spot against Boston and a tough defensive matchup against Boston. All of those things are pretty much negatives for Porter. And yet, dual eligibility, 5,800, and increased minutes because of Paul Millsap being out, that's enough for me. That's enough to make him the 3rd best play of the slate to me. So even knocking him down, all of those different pegs, defense, pace, whatever, I still want to get to a bunch of Michael Porter. And if he happens to have one of those ceiling type games for Porter at 5,800, let's remember, his GPP goal is 42.3. Dude can score 42 real points in an NBA game. I'm assuming he hasn't done that or hasn't even come close, but that's his style of play. Lots of points and very little else. So, small forward, power forward eligibility for 5,800 on a guy that should play north of 30 minutes. Sign me up. Ooh, okay, let's talk about this one. Number 2, Derrick Jones Jr., small forward, power forward eligibility, 3,700. 23 fantasy point projection. He's in the optimal lineup 34% of the time. That dual eligibility helps out a ton. Again, we've got no Rodney Hood, no Kanter, no CJ McCollum. Derrick Jones is going to have to play a lot. Oh, no Harry Giles as well. I missed that one before. So they don't have an actual backup center. We'll likely see Robert Covington playing at the 5. Derrick Jones Jr.'s minutes feel even more secure now. 0.72 fantasy points per minute. That's bad. That's worse than I normally project him. He gets the benefit of the pace up spot. And as a guy that can pick up a bunch of steals, he's projected for 2.2 stocks. This feels like a really nice spot against Oklahoma City, a team that doesn't really have a primary ball handler. I think that there could be opportunities for additional turnovers, and Derrick Jones Jr. is the guy that's uniquely set up to take advantage of that. In particular, if he gets any steals, the opportunity for a steal plus a run-out dunk, a lot higher for Derrick Jones Jr. than most other players. As value opens up, I expect him to slide down this list. But for now, small forward and power forward eligibility, 30 plus minutes, and a sub 4K price tag, that is value you just cannot pass up, particularly against an Oklahoma City team that is essentially half of a G League team. Now, before we get to number one last reminder, like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bell, follow this guy right here on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to my sim results, and then go check out the process show, 6:30 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. That's me projecting out the minutes for every single game. We're changing rates, we're changing rotations, we're changing all sorts of different stuff, getting ourselves ready for the rest of the day and for the rest of the slate. So go watch that. Check out the strategy show with myself and Laffy, and then, watch this again and hit the like button a second time if you can. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. It'll go away. Number one with a bullet, as if there was any other choice, point guard eligibility, Damian Lillard, 9,700, projected for 58. The goal is 56. Yeah, he hits that goal 57% of the time. He's in the optimal lineup 41% of the time. This shouldn't even be surprising. 37 minutes, a 1.57 fantasy point per minute projection. 32 points, almost 12 assists, and 4.5 boards. He even gets a steal pace-up spot against a terrible Oklahoma City team. What's not to like here? He will control the entire offense for like 80% of this game. He has the opportunity to put up a true monster. He's going to be chalk, but he should be the first guy in your lineup no matter what. He's the best play on the slate. It's not close. I don't really have much else to add. 32 and 12 as a baseline projection for a guy with a 35% usage rate. Like, this is just the no-brainer of all no-brainers. No matter what news comes out, other than Damian Lillard being out, he will be my number one play today, bar none, all the way up until lock. You have no choice. Play Damian Lillard. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Tuesday, February 16th. I'm not on live before lock tonight, guys, so do keep your eyes peeled. Got to cook some dinner for the wife tonight, though, so I will be a little bit away from my keyboard, but I am playing because I can't avoid this slate. I want to play all of the Damian Lillard. Tune into the strategy show, myself and Laffy, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Go back and watch it if you're watching this video after the time that I just mentioned. Good luck tonight, everybody. I'll see you guys again tomorrow morning for the process and another edition of the Contenders.